Dr. Gursimar Kaur, final year PG from MBJ Medical College, Bangalore, and I will be presenting my case today. Mrs. MH, 27-year-old Hindu married female, Kannada and English speaking, working as a teacher's assistant in a primary school, studied up to BCom, hailing from Channasandra, from urban background, living in a middle socioeconomic status, nuclear family with husband and daughter, where husband is the nominal head and patient and husband are the functional heads of the family. Informant is patient and husband. Information is adequate and reliable. Patient came to OPD with complaints of repeated thoughts of contamination, repeated washing of face and hands, sad mood, reduced interest in activities since 1 year. Stressor being abortion of a fetus 1 year ago, insidious onset, progressive nature, continuous course, predisposing factors being personality traits, precipitating factors being the abortion, and perpetuating factors being interpersonal conflict with husband and poor knowledge about illness. HOPI. The patient was apparently all right 1 year ago when in September 2023 she had an abortion. It occurred at 5 months of gestation. Patient reports that it was like a normal delivery where she delivered the fetus after occurrence of pain. As she saw the fetus complete with its arms and legs like a little baby, she was overwhelmed with guilt. Following the delivery of the fetus, the patient started having excessive passage of stool, extreme passage of blood. Patient started feeling very dirty because of the same. She started washing her legs and private parts every half to 1 hour. Every time she used to wash herself, her dress too used to get dirty and she had to change that as well. Slowly after that, she developed the fear that whenever she goes to the toilet, her clip or clothes might fall into the sea. So she used to remove all these things before going to the toilet. She eventually started feeling that every time she goes to the toilet, she becomes dirty and all of the waste particles are on her body. Due to this, she cleans herself regularly, takes a bath frequently. Even when she bathes, she takes a long time in cleaning herself. Patient reports that she cleans herself with soap and washing herself 3 to 4 times a day, and even washes her hair 3 to 4 times a day to be clean enough and still keeps feeling dirty. Patient reports that whenever her daughter, who is 5 years old, goes to the toilet, she has to clean her and she will go to the when she goes to the toilet and she will change her clothes as well each time due to that dirty feeling. Patient reports that she feels all of the clothes in her wardrobe are dipped in dirt. She reports she has stopped wearing bangles and spectacles as she feels all of those are dirty. She also feels like washing her face again and again. Each time she looks in the mirror, she has the urge to wash her face. And even though she tries to resist this urge, she is unsuccessful and ends up giving in. Due to this, she also has stopped looking at the mirror. Patient also reports of frequent washing of hands every time she touches something. She has to wash her hands after touching it. As a result of this, she stopped cleaning the house and has employed a house help for the same. Patient also reports of recurring intrusive thoughts of death. Patient reports she feels very guilty of the abortion and feels that she is a bad and dishonest person and does not deserve to live. She reports that whenever she is alone, she has these negative thoughts of death and that is why she cannot stay alone at home. So each time her husband goes to work, she leaves and goes to her mother's place and comes back when her husband comes back. Patient reports that whenever she sees mud, she feels she will be buried into it. Whenever she sees a fan, she feels like she will hang herself. Whenever she sees a knife or a blade or scissors, she feels she will cut herself. And whenever she sees fire, she feels like she will burn herself. Patient reports that whenever she walks by garbage or dirt on the street, she feels that her clothes are soiled and she feels like changing them. However, the feeling is worse towards the toilet than garbage on the roadside. Due to these complaints, she has also started pushing her husband away from her. She reports that the thought of sexual contact makes her feel dirty. Even when she feels Even when she feels like crying, she immediately washes her face as she feels that the tears are also dirty. Patient reports that she used to do puja every day. However, now, since she always feels dirty, she feels it is a sin to do puja as the religious objects will get dirty if she touches them. Patient reports that whenever she is passing urine or changing sanitary pads during menstruation, she has thoughts about God and she says that it is a sin to think about God while doing these things as she is dirty and contaminated. Patient reports that no matter how much she tries to resist these thoughts, she is unable to do so. Patient also has given significance to certain numbers and colors. She reports that as number 1 and 2 are indicated for using washroom, she feels that these numbers are bad. Even when she indicates these numbers using her hands, she goes and washes her hands. Similarly, she hates the color red as it is the color of blood. Patient reports that she has developed a habit of repeated checking if the door is locked or if the stove is off. She reports that to get rid of these thoughts, she has developed the habit of counting. So every time she has these negative thoughts, she starts counting. However, these negative thoughts do not go away. Due to these complaints, patients started having sadness of mood, which stays continuously throughout the day. She reports that she feels sad throughout the day and hasn't felt happy in the last 1 month. She reports that she used to be very bright and hardworking and used to love working. But now, since this problem and negative thoughts have started, she does not feel like doing anything. She does not even want to take care of her daughter and sees no point in it. She also reports that she doesn't feel like eating anything and her weight has reduced from 45 kgs to 37 kgs in the last 6 months. Due to this, she feels tired all day. While she is working, she cannot concentrate on one thing and her attention keeps going back to the bad thoughts. Patient also complains of disturbed sleep. She lays down on the bed at 10 p.m. and can sleep only by 11:30 p.m. Patient reports that the thoughts she has are so painful and distressing that she feels it is better to die than live such a life. She reports that the guilt of abortion is eating her up and feels that maybe that is the reason she is suffering through all this. She reports that if these things keep happening to her the same way, she will never be able to live a normal life and will always be unhappy in the future. Due to these complaints, the patient was brought to the OPD of Department of Psychiatry. There is no history of hoarding, no history of need for symmetry or exactness, no history of ritualistic behavior, keeping things in order or arranging things, no history of head injury or seizure disorder, no history of substance use, no history of hearing of voices or suspiciousness, no history of episodes of excessive activity, excessive happiness, no history of palpitations, sweating. On a typical day, the patient wakes up at 7:30 a.m., freshens up, makes her daughter ready for school, goes to work, does the household chores, and falls asleep. However, since the last year, the patient wakes up at 7:30, freshens up, and washes her face 3 to 4 times. Then she gets her daughter ready for school. Due to washing her hands after each step while cooking, she is often late for work. She then comes home, makes dinner, and lies down to sleep. It takes her 1 to 1.5 hours to fall asleep, during which she keeps ruminating about her illness. After she falls asleep, she wakes up 2 to 3 times during the night as well. Past history: patient is not a known case of diabetes, hypertension, thyroid disorder, asthma, TB, or epilepsy. No history of any road traffic accidents or hospital admissions in the past. No history of prolonged illness in the past. No history of any neuropsychiatric illness in the past. Family history: patient is the first born out of 3 siblings from a non consanguineous marriage. There is no history of diabetes, hypertension, asthma, thyroid disorder in the family. Uh, there is history of alcohol use and dependence pattern in the father. Attitude towards patient is caring. Poor knowledge about illness. However, concern for patient is present. Personal history: birth and early development in presence of childhood disorders could not be collected. Home atmosphere in childhood and adolescence was congenial. Congenial. There was no anomalous family situation. Parents' attitude towards patient is supportive. Scholastic and extracurricular activities: studied up to BCom, average in studies, used to be involved in athletics, no disciplinarian problems during education. Adolescent sexual activity: she denies any exposure to sexual activity in adolescence. Occupational history: she joined a job at a multinational company immediately after graduation and discontinued after marriage and became a homemaker. Joined as a primary school teaching assistant since 1 year to distract herself from recurrent thoughts. However, discontinued 15 days back as she could not handle the thoughts and anxiety associated with it anymore. Marital history: patient married at the age of 22 to a 26-year-old male in a non-consanguineous arranged marriage 6 years ago with consent of both the parties. Role allocation between partners is equal. Husband is the decision maker in the family. Sexual relations adequate. However, husband refuses to use any methods of contraception in hopes of having a male child, due to which the relation between them is strained. No extramarital or premarital relationships. Currently lives in a nuclear family with daughter. Relation with other family members is congenial. Interpersonal relationships and social activity outside workplace and home are congenial, and there are no specific hobbies or interests. Menstrual history. The patient attained menarche at the age of 15 years. Currently, the cycles come every 30 plus minus 2 days, regular. Patient reports the amount of bleeding has increased since the abortion and has to change 3 to 4 pads per day. Menstruation is also associated with distress due to current symptomatology of the patient. Pre-morbid personality. Patient is strong and hardworking. Her strength is her family, and she did not have any weakness, and she is resilient in the face of adversities. Relations. Patient prefers company, makes friend easily. She has close and long-lasting friendships, handles others' mistakes well, and tolerates criticism well. Work and leisure. The relationship with workmates is congenial. However, she is often perceived to be bossy as she wants to do the work herself. And if others try to do the work in a manner which she is not used to do, she usually gets very irritable. Therefore, she likes to work alone rather than in a team. Hobbies. She used to be interested in sports, however, currently no hobbies. Mood is usually jovial and not easily changeable. She doesn't lose control over her feelings and hasn't been violent. Her character is outgoing. She is moderately religious and no habits. Therefore, patient has pre-morbidly obsessive compulsive personality traits. General physical examination. General survey. Patient is thin built and poorly nourished. Head to toe examination. Dry and scaly hands were noted. Weight is 37 kgs, height is 1.52 meter. Therefore, BMI is 16 kg per meter square, which is underweight. Pallor is present, no icterus, clubbing, cyanosis, lymphadenopathy, edema. Dryness of hands is present, oral cavity is normal. CVS S1, S2 is heard, no murmurs. Respiratory system, normal vesicular breath sounds, no added sounds. Per abdomen, soft and non-tender, no organomegaly. On CNS examination, the patient is conscious, language functions, normal comprehension and articulation. Cranial nerve, first nerve is intact bilaterally. Second nerve, visual acuity and visual field are normal bilaterally. Third, fourth, and sixth nerve. Pupils are round, regularly active. Light reflex, both direct and indirect, are present. Accommodation reflex is normal. Ocular movements are normal. No ptosis, diplopia, nystagmus. Fifth nerve, both sensory and motor component are normal. Corneal reflex is normal. Seventh and eighth nerve, Rini, air conduction is more than bone conduction. Weber is centralized. Ninth nerve, palate is normal. Uvula central. 10th nerve, no hoarseness of voice noted. 11th nerve, sternocleidomastoid and trapezius muscles are normal. The 12th nerve, normal size, surface, and movement of the tongue is noted. There is no deviation, wasting, or fasciculation. Motor system, tone of upper and lower limb bilaterally is normal. Power is 5/5. No fasciculations or abnormal movements. Reflexive biceps, triceps, knee, and ankle reflexes 2 plus bilaterally. Plantar reflexes flexor bilaterally. Sensory system, touch, pain, joint position, and vibration is normal. Cortical sensation, tactile localization, tactile discrimination, and stereognosis are normal. Tests for coordination, finger, nose, and knee heel test are normal. No dystiadochokinesia. Tandem walking is normal. Romberg's is negative. Gait is normal. No involuntary movements. Skull and spine are normal. MSc was done on 28th November 2024 at 5 p.m. Language of interview was Kannada and English. Time taken was 1 hour. Patient walks into the duty doctor's room and sits on the edge of the chair. Patient is conscious, rapport established. General appearance and behavior. Patient is moderately kempt and groomed, appropriate to situation. Thin build, eye contact established and maintained. Attitude towards examiner cooperative. Manner of relating is tense. Psychomotor activity is normal. Speech is relevant, coherent, normal tone, tempo, volume, normal reaction time. Prosody is maintained. Thought, a neutral topic of Deepavali was given. Stream, normal flow and continuity of thought process. No flight of ideas, prolixity, retardation, perseveration, or thought block. Form, no loosening of association, derailment, neologism, poverty of thought, or poverty of content of thought. Under content, the patient reports that she that her life will become miserable if her bad thoughts continue, and it's better to die than live such a life. Therefore, hopelessness is present and death wishes are present. Possession of thought. The patient reports that her thoughts are her own thoughts. However, she cannot control these thoughts. They are recurrent, unwanted, intrusive, and cause a high amount of anxiety and distress. She tries to resist these thoughts but fails to do so. Therefore, obsessions are present. The patient also performs certain physical as well as mental acts to combat these thoughts and experience relief. Therefore, compulsions are present. Patient reports she is dirty and everything around her is dirty. She keeps cleaning everything multiple times a day. Therefore, contamination obsessions and cleaning compulsions are present. Reports that whenever she sees a fan, she feels she will hang herself. Whenever she sees a knife, she will cut herself. Therefore, aggressive obsessions are present. She has thoughts and images of God whenever she uses the washroom. Therefore, religious obsessions are present. Patient reports she gets images of graveyard in her mind which are not under her control. Reports number 1 and 2 are bad numbers and red is a bad girl. Therefore, miscellaneous obsessions are present. She reports she repeatedly checks if locks are locked or whether stove is off. Therefore, checking compulsion is present. She reports of counting numbers in hopes of getting rid of these thoughts. Therefore, counting compulsions are present. There are no perceptual abnormalities. Cognitive status examination. Patient is oriented to time, place, and person. Attention and concentration. Patient was given digit span test and serial subtraction of 100 minus 7, which she could perform adequately. Therefore, attention is arousable and concentration is sustained. Language functions, normal phonation, articulation, fluency, naming, repetition, reading, writing, and prosody. Memory, immediate memory was tested using 3 object tests, which patient could repeat immediately and after 5 minutes. Therefore, immediate memory is intact. Recent memory, 24-hour recall was done, which was corroborated with the attendant. Therefore, recent memory is intact. Remote memory, patient's date of birth of her daughter, and date of marriage was asked, which was corroborated with the husband. Therefore, remote memory is intact. Abstractability, a Kannada proverb, Kai Kesradre Bai Mosuru, was given, for which the patient gave appropriate explanation. Therefore, thinking is at abstract level. General fund of information, patient was asked about the PM of her country, the capital of her country, CM of the state and capital of the state, as well as about the names of certain neighboring countries, which she gave adequately. Therefore, general fund of information is adequate. Calculation, patient was given some calculations in word format, which she could perform adequately. Therefore, she intelligence is average. Judgment, for test judgment, the patient was given a fire test where she reported that she would douse off the fire using water. Therefore, test judgment is intact. Personal judgment is impaired as patient reports her future is unhappy and she won't be happy in the future. Also, self-care is reduced. Social judgment, the patient has pushed her husband away as well as prefers to stay at home and doesn't interact with others. Therefore, social judgment is also impaired. Patient insight is 3 by 5 as patient says that illness is present but it is due to irrational thoughts and feelings. Summary, Mrs. MH, 27-year-old married female hailing from Channasandra, living in a nuclear family, studied up to BCom, housewife by occupation, came with complaints of repeated washing of face, private parts and hands, repeated thoughts of death, fear of staying alone, decreased interest in activities since 1 year, following abortion of 5-month-old fetus. Patient reports that she has repeated thoughts of being contaminated by toilet and always feels she is dirty. So she keeps washing herself, keeps thinking about death. Sad mood, loss of interest is present. Sleep and appetite is reduced with nil significant past history. Family history of alcohol use and dependence pattern in father. Personal history of interpersonal conflicts with husband. Pre-morbidly obsessive compulsive personality traits. Thin build, BMI of 16, underweight, pallor present, dryness of hands present, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, gastrointestinal system, and central nervous system within normal limits. On MSc, patient sits on the edge of the chair, eye-to-eye contact is established and maintained, manner of relating is tense, attitude towards examiner cooperative, psychomotor activity normal, speech is relevant coherent, normal tone tempo volume, thought normal stream and form of thought, possession, obsessions and compulsions are present, in which obsessions of contamination, aggressive obsessions, religious and miscellaneous obsessions, and cleaning, checking and counting compulsions are present. Content of thought, hopelessness, and death wishes are present. Mood is fearful, affect is anxious, full range, normal reactivity, no lability, appropriate to situation, congruent to thought, with no perceptual abnormalities. On cognitive status examination, patient is oriented to time, place, and person. Attention is arousable, concentration sustained, language functions normal, memory, immediate, recent, and remote memory is intact, thinking at abstract level, general fund of information is adequate, could perform simple calculation, average intelligence, test judgment intact, personal and social judgment impaired, with insight of 3 by 5. Diagnostic formulation. Mrs. MH, 27-year-old female, married, Kannada and English speaking, studied up to BCom with nil significant past history, family history of ADS in father, personal history of interpersonal conflicts with husband, and pre-morbidly obsessive compulsive personality traits. Came to OPD with complaints of repeated thoughts of contamination, repeated washing of face and hands, sad mood, reduced interest, and passive death wishes since 1 year. On general physical examination, thin built, poorly nourished, BMI of 16, with dryness of hands, CNS, CVS respiratory system, and gastrointestinal system examination within normal limits. On MSc, sits on the edge of the chair, manner of relating is tense. Thought, obsessions of contamination, aggressive, religious, and miscellaneous obsessions are present. Cleaning, checking, and counting compulsions are present. Death wishes and hopelessness is present. Affect is anxious. Cognitive status examination within normal limits. Average intelligence, personal and social judgment impaired, with insight of 3 by 5. I would like to give a diagnosis in Axis 1 as obsessive compulsive disorder, mixed obsessional thoughts and acts, and that is F42.2, with secondary depression, current episode, moderate depressive episode without somatic symptoms, that is F32.10. Axis 2, she has obsessive compulsive personality traits. Axis 3, anemia, underweight, and contact dermatitis. Predisposing factors being her personality traits, precipitating factors being abortion at 5 months gestational age, perpetuating factors being interpersonal conflicts with husband, and poor insight about the illness, psychological factors being guilt and self-blame for the abortion, social factors being interpersonal conflicts with husband. Coming to the management of this case, I would like to manage this case in inpatient care in view of severity of symptoms, high level of distress that is associated with death wishes. I would like to focus on management of obsessions and compulsions, improvement of insight, reduction of distress and depressive symptoms, as well as medical management of the medical diagnosis. I would like to take a detailed history and do a physical examination of the patient to establish a diagnosis. I would like to do certain blood tests like CBC, as she is anemic and as she has pallor and she also has reduced weight with reduction in appetite, LFT, RFT, serum electrolytes, as well as ECG. I would like to do some psychological assessments in the form of Young Brown obsessive compulsive scale, as well as obsessive compulsive checklist. For management, according to IPS guideline, I would like to do pharmacological management. According to IPS guidelines, the first line of management is SSRIs, which we usually continue for 1 to 2 years and taper over 1. And second, we can augment it with aripiprazole or risperidone, memantine or lamotrigine. After which, if the patient does not respond to it, we can give ketamine or do RTMS as well as, and the last option is DBS. So I would like to start the patient on an SSRI, preferably fluoxetine, as fluoxetine will take care of obsessions as well as depressive symptoms, and it is also the drug of choice for OCD, which I would give an adequate trial of that is 12 weeks. I would gradually increase the dose of fluoxetine, starting with the minimum dose and attain the maximum dose of 4 to 6 weeks and continue the same dose for 6 to 8 weeks. If the patient is not adequately responding to the same, I would augment this medication with aripiprazole or risperidone. Aripiprazole of 5 to 10 mg and risperidone of 1 to 3 mg. Apart from this, we can do electroconvulsive therapy, RTMS, as well as cingulotomy. For psychological management, I would like to do CBT for both her personality as well as teaching her how to manage her cognitive distortions regarding OCD and helping her in remodeling of her thoughts, as well as exposure and response prevention. I would like to do certain other therapies like acceptance and commitment therapy, stress management and relaxation training, mindfulness based cognitive therapy, and family inclusive treatments. I would like to psychoeducate the family members about the illness, the nature of illness, about the need for continuing the medication for a certain amount of time, and to look for any side effects and bring it to the notice of the treating doctor as soon as they note some side effects. And also, I would like to do some occupational therapy, occupational training, and help the patient reintegrate back into the society. Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Gursevar. Sorry, my video is not working, I guess. Okay, we'll start the Viva now. Are you ready? Can you unmute?
Hello.
Yeah, audible.
Good
I
morning,
hope
ma'am.
you have, yeah, good morning. I hope you have your case sheet with you.
Yes, I have, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So, I just wanted to check, can you tell me what do you mean by insidious onset when you started your history of presenting illness?
Insidious onset means that the onset is not abrupt in nature. The symptoms start slowly. The onset is slow and gradual. It isn't like it's one day it started. It's not like that. Slowly, gradually, it occurs.
Do you have any timeline for insidious onset for calling somebody disease is insidious onset?
More than 2 weeks is insidious onset usually. If it is more than a month, it is chronic in nature.
Okay. Chronic. Okay. Okay. Can you tell me types of onset?
Subacute, acute, insidious.
Okay. Does chronic come there?
No, chronic is a course.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So insidious onset is weeks to months. So you had told that in September 2023, the patient had an abortion, after which after how many weeks or months the patient started slowly into OCD according to you?
The patient reports that the time that she came to know is around like after the abortion, she started around 2 months after that, she is actually started noticing that she is having some kind of problems. So it is like initially after she got over that grief period for around 1.5 to 2 months is when she started that actually it is going on. These symptoms are being experienced by her is when she realized after that.
Okay, fine. You also mentioned that patient had progressive course, no? So in
Yes,
a
ma'am.
typical case of OCD, what course do you expect? How do they generally describe OCD course as? Do they describe as a relapsing, remitting, or progressive, or what do they describe as? Have you heard about the classical term used in OCD?
This patient, she said that with time, the symptoms have worsened according to her.
Okay,
But
okay.
yes,
Okay. So generally OCD they describe as waxing and waning course.
okay.
The typical description given in most of the OCD cases. Okay.
Okay.
Now, coming to your history of presenting illness, when you had mentioned about patient would not stay alone and she would have thoughts of hanging herself or thoughts of those death. Can you tell me how will you differentiate this phenomena from a suicidal idea versus aggressive obsession?
Ma'am, it was not that she was having, she said that it was whenever she used to, uh, whenever she used to be alone and she used to look at these suggestible objects, she used to have that kind of thought that I am going to kill myself. It's not like she wanted to die and wanted to kill herself, or she was sad because of which all these thoughts were coming. It was just a thought which was, it was recurrent, it was not in her control, and it was intense. It was not secondary to her affect or secondary to her mood.
Mm.
It was not in her control as well. It was just it would suddenly come to her and she could not get rid of it after that.
Okay. So when the thought comes, you mean to say that she does not want that thought?
No, she does not want that thought.
Okay. What is it called?
Unwanted thought.
Okay. What is it otherwise called? The classical difference between, the death wishes and the aggressive obsession. Is it an ego dystonic?
Ego dystonic
Oh,
thought. Yes.
okay, fine. So, so you mean to say that those were ego dystonic thoughts?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does she do something for this whenever she gets these particular death-related thoughts? Does she do something to relieve her anxiety?
Since she is not able to control these thoughts, what she usually does is she distracts herself. She would just leave herself from the situation. Then she would avoid these thoughts. Like in this case, she used to say that as soon as my husband goes, I'll go to my mother's house to stay with her so that I'm not alone and these thoughts don't come to me.
Okay, fine. Next is you also mentioned about some thoughts about God and feeling, thinking that it might is a sin to think about God.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
did she have any blasphemous content?
No, ma'am, not blasphemous per se. Only when she was changing, at that time she felt that I should not be thinking this.
Okay, I was expecting that in your negative history because you have mentioned about God, no?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Okay.
you said that she had this contamination related obsessions and she would wash hands quite often. So, did she have any ritualistic behavior in her hand washing?
No, ma'am, nothing like that. She did not report of anything like that.
Okay. Why is it important to ask? How is it relevant in our treatment or, in formulating the case about these ritualistic behaviors in compulsions?
No, I'm not
So I
sure.
mentioned, no, that you will do CBT when you are doing an exposure response prevention, when you're setting up the hierarchy and all that, that time you will need to know this ritualistic behavior, right? So that you can see if you can target those things in your therapy. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, and in your negative history, there was no negative history on suicidality.
Ma'am, there are death wishes, but these are separate from the obsessions that she's already having. Both the phenomena are present in her actually. That aggressive obsessions that they are separate. Apart from that, she also has that it is not, my life is not worth living. If it keeps going on this way, there is no use of this life, and it is better to die than live such a life. That statement is also present. They are passive death wishes, but they are also present. So both of them are present in this patient.
Okay, fine. We will come back to it. In family history, I don't know whether I missed it. Have you mentioned about accommodation and proxy compulsions there? Can you?
No, ma'am, I have not mentioned, ma'am.
Okay.
No, it's not, but nothing like that is actually present in her family history, but I'll mention it.
You need to mention it. Okay.
Yes,
Those
ma'am.
are very important phenomena. So you will have to, all these are very important things when it comes to an OCD case. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. Okay. So how did you come to the conclusion of the person has obsessive compulsive personality traits or disorder in your premorbid personality? What are the points in your premorbid personality which made you to come to this impression?
Ma'am, so pre-morbidly, the patient reported, not the patient, like even the husband, when I talked to him, the husband was like, she has to do one thing, which she has to do according to herself only.
If that is not done according to the way that she does it, she considers it to be wrong. And also she gets very irritable if things are not done according to her. Like if she does a process, like if she keeps some things in a particular place in the house, and if, for example, the husband keeps it in another way or something like that, she will get very, very irritable. It will have to be the way she does it. It has to be the way she places things. Also, there have been a lot of initially also, like due to these things, that this is the right way, there have been interpersonal conflicts at the previous workplace as well, according to the husband, is what he told me. So all these things, that inflexibility, doing not being able to share the give work to others also, to be done according to, it should be according to me only, the way what I do is right. So all these factors, I thought that maybe obsessive compulsive personality traits are present in the patient.
Okay, so okay, fine. So you are trying to say that patient wanted to do things in her own way, and she also insists others also to do in the way she
Yes.
wants.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
fine. Okay, that is one pointer towards an anancastic or an obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So
Yes,
what are the other things you will ask for when you want to confirm or rule out whether it is a disorder or not? What are
ma'am.
the you should ask?
Ma'am, other things that can be in this disorder is a sense of perfectionism. If it is to be done, it is supposed to be perfect, and unable to
Did you
delegate
check that with
tasks
the
to
patient?
others. It Yes, ma'am.
Did you check that with the patient whether she is
Perfectionism is not like it has to be perfect like that. That thing was not there, ma'am.
okay, fine. Other pointers in this personality disorder, what other things you will ask for?
Difficulty in delegation of tasks to others, and
Not
uh,
really. Then the difficulty in delegating task is not a core presentation in this disorder. More like, you will have to check about stubbornness, rigidity, preoccupation with any details or organization stuffs, or excessive doubt and caution. These will be egocentric also. So these are the things you would want to check, before giving that impression. Fine.
okay.
So, okay. What do you mean by insight 3 by 5?
Ma'am, so there are a total of 5 levels of insight, where 0 is denial, 1 is ambivalence,
Hmm.
uh, 2 is due to external causes, that maybe somebody has done black magic on me, or because of some any other external causes that I might be having the illness. 3
Hmm.
is because of some internal causes. It could be either because of some other internal illness, or maybe because of other some, the patient feels I have only done something, that is why this is happening to me. And 4 is when there is intellectual insight, and 5 is emotional insight. So in this case, the patient reported that because of these bad thoughts that are coming to my mind is because I'm having all these problems. So that is why I kept her insight as 3 by 5.
Okay. Are you aware of any specific grading of insight, particularly for OCD?
No, ma'am, I'm not aware.
Okay. If you go back and read your Y box, no? In Y
Yes, ma'am.
box, item 11 has this insight for OCD. Because
Okay, ma'am.
OCD people, you cannot grade insight similarly to, either another individual with psychosis or, other psychotic spectrum disorders.
Hmm.
So actually you have a 0 to 4 insight, where 0 is an excellent, where they are fully rational about what symptoms they have, and 1 is good and 2 is fair, and so on. So I
Okay.
insist you to go back and read on that item 11 of Y box. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Hmm.
So it is
Yes.
better when you get an OCD case, you give insight in that this thing, because that is very useful for us also, even when you plan for therapy and all that stuff. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. In MSc, in possession, you had mentioned about all the obsessions, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, what are the other things under possession in thought in your MSc? What, apart from obsession and compulsion, what other things you will check for in the possession domain of thought content?
Any thought alienation phenomena, like thought insertion, withdrawal, broadcast.
Okay. Okay. uh, how do you differentiate, because it is both are under the same category, no, possession? So how do you say that thought alienation and obsession are different or similar, whatever. Why it is put together in that domain? What is the core feature on which these two psychopathological phenomena are put under possession?
Because the thoughts are not in their own control in both the things. Only when it is thought alienation, it is not their own thoughts as well. In obsessions, they are not there under their own control, but they are their own thoughts.
Yeah, basically it's about the control. Yeah, good. Fine. Okay. And in your diagnosis, you gave secondary depression as your diagnosis after OCD.
Hmm.
Okay, fine. So what do you mean by secondary depression? Do we have such secondary
No,
depression?
the OCD in this patient, the OCD is what I would like to keep my primary diagnosis as that is what started first, and that that is what started first, and that after that the mood symptoms also started occurring according to her. However, uh, because of the OCD symptoms is only what the mood symptoms have occurred according to the patient. So she has said that my sadness of mood and all also she comes up with. Her main presenting complaint when she came to the OPD was of I have these thoughts. The OCD part was her main presenting complaint, and along with that, sadness of mood was also her presenting complaint. However, she clearly attributed that the sadness of mood and the depressive symptoms they started after some 6 months after the obsessive compulsive symptoms started. So that is why I use the term secondary depression. However, it is not like there's nothing like officially we can use this way or not.
Yeah, it is better that, our diagnostic systems are basically built on descriptive psychopathology. Okay, so these symptoms are present. If it is fitting for a diagnosis, then you make that diagnosis. If it is not there, that diagnosis is not there. So you are not going to do any etiological impressions on your diagnosis. That is how our current classificatory systems are there. Better to stick it that way.
Okay, ma'am.
Why did you give both? I mean, in your college, do you give both summary and the formulation?
Yes, ma'am. Both we use usually.
Fine.
We see both of them during case presentations.
Okay, fine. And you said you would like to start the patient with fluoxetine. Why not
Yes,
escitalopram?
ma'am. She also has depressive symptoms as well, where fluoxetine I feel could be more potent in that way. And fluoxetine is usually the first line because the obsessions are so distressing and so upcoming in her that I feel that a more potent SSRI, a more appropriate SSRI to be used would be fluoxetine.
Is there any study you are aware of where fluoxetine and escitalopram has been given to different groups and proved that fluoxetine is superior over escitalopram? Are you aware of such head-to-head trials?
No, ma'am, I'm not aware of that.
Okay, fine. So when you talk about first line in OCD, you have to talk about SSRI as a group.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can always defend your management choice by saying that, SSRIs are the first line management in OCD, and you are going to start fluoxetine as it belongs to that group, and fluoxetine is equally efficacious. You did not over defend yourself by saying why are you choosing that particular agent.
Okay, ma'am.
It comes true for even psychosis, even bipolar disorder also. When you choose a particular agent, you first be aware of what is the recommendation based on any of the standard, guidelines, be it IJP, be it, CanMat, everything. And what you say, once you are sure that that particular drug is effective for that particular disorder, that will be your first sentence. Okay,
ma'am.
so you will always get these tricky questions like this. Why not escitalopram? Why not sertraline? So be sure that you don't fall into the trap. Okay. And this is a patient who is coming to you for the first time, probably drug naive OCD. Alva?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So why do you want to talk about treatment resistance, cingulotomy, RTMS, ketamine? Are you expecting any treatment resistance in this case?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So what are the good and bad prognostic factors in her?
Ma'am, in her, the good prognostic factors in her is that she's a female. She has a good insight about the illness, and uh, the factors which actually point towards the poor response are that it is early onset, and cleaning and washing compulsions are present. That can also be one of that. Also has poor response usually in OCDs.
Okay. Okay. So here in her, you mean to say she has contamination obsession, which is a poor prognosis factor. Then what else?
Early onset, very 25. She's 25 years.
An
Very
early onset.
earlier onset comparatively, 27 years.
Okay. So is it
Younger
early
age.
expected age? Okay. Fine. It's not early onset OCD. So yeah, I understand that that poor response criteria which you have read from the IJP guidelines. You can stick to those clinical factors there. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. So that is what. So when you are talking about treatment for that patient, uh, describe about the treatment which you would immediately start and which you are expecting in the course. If you are not expecting a treatment resistance, or if you have not proved already treatment resistance, don't stretch yourself and talk about cingulotomy and all that. Same goes for therapy also. When you are saying that you are going to start ERP, you don't need to talk about stress management, acceptance, commitment, everything you can't do at the same time, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And psychoeducation will you give to the patient or to the family? This is an OCD case. Keep that in mind and tell me. To whom you will give? You are saying she has a good insight. So
Yes,
why
ma'am.
do you want to give a psychoeducation to the family saying that you have to take care of her medicines?
Ma'am, both of
Taking
them, it
away
is
her rights,
required
no?
to both of them, psychoeducation is required, as both of them need to know about what the illness is
You
and
need
what
to
the
educate the family members so that they do not, if there is expressed emotion, if there is family accommodation, if there is, proxy compulsions, then of course, psychoeducation is a part in caregiver also. But there is an OCD case, she has a good insight onto her illness. So you would want to first educate her and relieve some of her anxiety. No, she will be
Yes, ma'am.
getting
Yes,
scared
ma'am.
what is going on in her life.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Does the floor have any other questions about this case? Or the presentation or any other comments about this case? Okay, fine. So I will just sum up my overall overall presentation and your Viva as well. So the description of OCD along with the social social context of the family and what does she do and her everyday thing, it was nice. So we were able to get a glimpse of what is she going through, not only about the symptoms, about the whole context of it. I felt there were some confusion about she was a housewife or not. So make sure you do not confuse those simple things in your presentation. But okay. GPE was very elaborate, but keep in mind the time limit always during your exams. And also in pre-morbid personality, I felt that you started with the strengths of the case, that was strengths of the patient. That was a good thing. Always when you add what the patient has the strength in her life, be it in personality, be it in social support or family support, it always adds a weightage to the presentation. So keep it up, but don't make any premature conclusions about obsessive compulsive personality traits. You will not have that much time. That I agree. But whenever you have a doubt, okay, she is a person who does not allow somebody to do it in their own ways, then you can always say that this is something which I find, but I do not have time to clarify about the other aspects, so I would like to so then you will not confidently put predisposing factor as obsessive compulsive personality traits, and we don't find anything in the pre-morbid personality discussion. In MHE, in OCD, it is good that you had listed all the obsessions. but at least one obsession you should try to describe it in the proper MSc format, like these are repetitive, intrusive, ego dystonic, all the qualities of the obsession, so that the examiner is also convinced that okay, you know about all this. So in Viva these questions will not come directly, we can go to management.
Okay.
The secondary depression I have already said. Vibox is Ale Brown obsessive compulsive, it's not
Yes, ma'am. I made a mistake
okay.
there. I realized it.
And
Yes.
treatment always be crisp, top, only personalized to that particular patient. We know that you would have read about treatment resistance, you would have read about all the possible therapies about OCD, but whatever is practical for you in that particular setting, and whatever is essential currently for that patient, and possibly a bit of stretch on short term and long term management would do, but definitely not this much stretch about treatment resistance.
Okay,
Over
ma'am.
a good case presentation. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for active listening, and thank you, Tips, for giving me this opportunity. Thanks.